Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's really good to see the faces of so many of our friends from Temple Akiba and knowing that there are people on our YouTube stream as well. Zeh hayom asa Adonai nagila v'nismecha bo. This is a day that God has created. Let us rejoice in it. As we were preparing for Shabbat services this evening, I had a choice that is a common choice among those in my profession. Which talit do I wear? And I'm wearing, I chose one that I don't usually wear. It is filled with beautiful windows on it. This is the talit that I wore at my wedding to Ron 18 years ago next Monday. Yes, we're celebrating our Chai anniversary. And the cool thing is that Ron and I were actually married twice to each other. Excuse me. Once in a religious ceremony in 2002 on July 21st. And we wrapped ourselves in this talit in that ceremony. And then when gay marriage was legalized in 2008, Cantor Lani and Rabbi Lisa Edwards of Congregation BCC co-officiated at our legal ceremony right in my living room, and we used this talit as our chuppah. So in honor of my own anniversary to Ron, I feel embraced by this, and it is a beautiful way to enter this very special Shabbos. Everyone, my name is Rabbi Zach Shapiro. I'm the rabbi of Temple Akiba here in Culver City, and I'm joined tonight by Rachel Rothstein, who is our rabbinic intern from the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, as well, of course, as we're also leading our services, our cantor, Lonnie Freilich, and behind the scenes is Carol Diamond, who is just helping to make sure that everything in our Zoom goes smoothly. How good it is, Tov lehodot, how good it is to be thankful of God's beautiful world. Cantor was playing this beautiful melody of these words as we came into this space. She's going to continue with the singing of this prayer.
You're on mute, Rabbi. There we go.
Well, I'm punting it back to you, Cantor. You're going to continue with our blessing for lighting our candles on this Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And we know you're home, but if you're able to, we ask for you to rise for our kiddush, our kiddush. And if you have a glass of grape juice or wine or water with you, let's raise it in the air while we sing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon inchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher litziat mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta v'yatanu kidashta mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim.
L'chaim. But don't sit down, everyone. I mean, if you want to, you can, but we're going to be standing up again in a moment anyway, so do what's most comfortable for you. Rabbi Rachel, are you back with us? I know you said you had an internet problem a little while ago. I'm not sure if she's there. Friends, we are going to continue with the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, v'yamad yivrach rutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala ba'agala, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה, ואמרו Amen. Friends, now you may be seated. My bad before, and I'm smiling because I'm looking through my window, and my little daughter Maya is kind of tapping on the window saying, I see you, Daddy, and it's very sweet. She'll come out and say hi to everyone in a moment. Friends, we now call upon Morris Zlotowitz, who is here representing our board of directors tonight. He's on our executive board, and Morris makes sure that all of our finances are straight, but don't are in order. But don't worry, you can don't about opening your wallets tonight. It's Shabbos, so just keep that on the side. Morris, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi, and Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's just so great to be on a Friday night Zoom service where you can just see faces and connect virtually. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, just welcome to our Friday night service. I do want to make a few announcements. One is we are planning a Shabbat at the beach. So I know things are changing every day. It's scheduled for August 7th, and we will keep you posted. And we hope that we can socially distance and have a Friday night service together. So more to come. And for our Torah study tomorrow, our rabbinic intern Rachel is doing a 10 Commandments series that we're going through the 10 Commandments on our Torah study, which has been great. I've been attending it, and I hope to see others there for that. And also Rachel is doing a Musar service on our Monday Lunch and Learn, which is at 12:30 on Mondays. So do check our website where you can find the Zoom links, and also that'll also give you the exact times of those services. And just the last thing I just wanted to say is we are in membership season. So please do, for those members, send in your renewal forms. And if you're watching on YouTube and you're not a member, please do call the office and you can get more information by doing that. So again, Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone on Zoom.
Thank you so much, Morris. We appreciate your being here. Turning back a liturgical page, Cantor is going to continue with the singing of Lecha Dodi. We're going to ask all who are able to please rise for our formal call to worship the Baruch Hu.
Adonai,
day turns to night, roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreyon v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into light, night becomes day, day turns, roll into dark. Roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night.
Thank you so much, Cantor. Friends, we're going to ask you to indulge us for a moment with the Shema that Cantor is going to lead us in. You know, so much of what makes congregations being together is that we hear each other, but with Zoom, we can't. And over YouTube, we can't harmonize, but we can share movement. And so with Shema, there's hand movements that we can do, and we'd really love to see the harmony of our hand motions as we offer this. Now the Shema in translation is, hear or listen, O people of Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. We're going to teach you the movements that we do with our religious school. So we put our hands to our ears for Shema, hear, O Israel, and for Israel, we put our hands in a circle because we're all over the place. Adonai is our God, and we keep it there, and then Adonai is one. So let's just try it spoken, and then when Cantor sings it, we can try it with the music. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. That looks so beautiful. That looks so beautiful. So let's put it to music, Cantor. Please be seated, everyone. That was so beautiful to watch. Rabbi Rachel. Rabbi Rachel, we can't hear you.
Let's try this again.
There you go.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם emet.
Thank you so much. For those who have been with us for the past few weeks, whether through study or through services, you've seen our incredible intern soul just grow and grow and grow. And Rachel, is it next Friday or the week after? I'm trying to remember now.
Next Friday, I'll be leading services.
So next Friday, Rachel will be leading services from beginning to end, and Cantor and I will be participating, but it's really going to be curated through Rachel, and we can't wait to be part of that and to see that. So we hope that you all join with us next Friday as well. Cantor is going to be continuing now with our Micha Mocha prayer. We're going to ask for all who are able to rise and face east for the Amidah. Anananananana Adonai. Anananananana Sfatai Titach. Anananananana Ufi Agi. Ufi Agi Tehilatecha. Anananananana Adonai. Anananananana Sfatai Titach. Anananananana Ufi Agi Tehilatecha. Anananananana Adonai. Anananananana Sfatai Titach. Anananananana Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יעלוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Friends, we're going to take a moment for our own silent prayers. Really make that time to reflect, to look back at this week. Find something that you saw that made you think differently, and use that new reflection to offer a moment of gratitude. We pray silently.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Atohu Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Ki Atohu Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Before we welcome Rabbi Rachel, who will offer an introduction to our next prayer, I want to make sure that our community knows that Matthew Josephson, a 42-year-old member of Temple Akiba who grew up at Temple Akiba, suffered a stroke earlier this week. And while we offer the Misha Berach in a moment, and again, Rachel will be introducing it, we want to make sure that everyone in our community is aware of Matthew and Paula, who's a member of our board, so that we can gather together with strength and both physical as well as spiritual nourishment for the family. So to the whole Josephson Schulman family, you are in our prayers. Rabbi Rachel?
Yes, you're in my thoughts too. When we say the Misha Berach, I think of it in an aspirational way, that we hope, it's an aspiration for hope and an aspiration for healing. And when we say the Misha Berach in a moment, we're going to give a space for our community to type out the names of the individuals that they're thinking of who need prayers for healing right now. And that's what's the most moving part of this prayer for me, that even as a community, when we pray virtually, we're still able to support our community through this prayer. So please share those names in the chat so that we can lend support to one another. Cantorlani?
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I had physical therapy earlier today as I'm still healing from my shoulder injury when I was bike riding a number of weeks ago. And on my way back, I saw a license plate, and it said, the license plate said, "I am here." And I loved that. It was a version of Hineni, which we often translate as "here I am." But it really made me think, I am here. What am I here on this earth to do? What purpose or purposes am I serving? And I thought about it more and more. I thought about it as I rode back to my house and huffed and puffed up the hill, and it became sort of my mantra, I am here. Judaism gives us many reasons to try to understand our place on earth. What are we here to serve? What are we here to do? Are we here primarily for ourselves or for the greater community? And that license plate, that personalized plate, spoke so well, believe it or not, to our Torah portion this week, which turns out to be my favorite portion. And it really is this week. It's actually a double portion. And if you're a parent of twins, you love double portions because it's like things come in twos, and it's kind of cool that way. It's called Matot Maseh, and it's the very last two portions of the book of Numbers. And in this portion, it begins in these portions, they begin with two different tribes, the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben. And they petition Moses. They approach him. They don't charge against him, but kind of like what we discussed last week, the daughters of Zelophehad, they drew near to him. And they said to Moses, we have been journeying across the desert for almost 40 years. We'd prefer not to go and settle in the land of Israel, but to stay on this side of the Jordan. And Moses wondered why, and well, the tribes of Gad and Reuben said that, well, we've amassed cattle and other kinds of wealth. We're doing pretty well here, and we think that we would be better suited to be here in the diaspora. They didn't use that expression, but they were the first diaspora Jews. They wanted to remain in the diaspora instead of going into Israel. Well, Moses' initial reaction was anger. He had schlepped these people those 40 years in the hopes of entering the promised land. He intervened with God over and over again, who wanted to leave the people in the desert at times. Moses had a dream and Moses had a hope. And now here were these people that said, we'd rather stay here. And so he responded to them. Moses said to Gad and Reuben, the tribes, should your brothers go to war while you remain here? Moses goes so far as to accuse them of treason and warns them that if they turn away from God by saying we're going to remain here, God would abandon the entire people in the wilderness, and the death of the Hebrew people would be on their shoulders. But the Gadites and the Reubenites, they drew even closer to Moses. They wanted to have a real conversation. They promised to have safe cities for their children in the diaspora and to provide care for their livestock. Further, and very important, they promised to commit themselves to ensuring the protection of Israel, to stand up and fight for the land alongside all the other tribes. And it was upon this promise that Moses agreed to allow them to do this. And it was so. But this agreement was the source of controversy among many subsequent rabbis. Let me share some examples. In the 13th century, Nachmanides, he focused on Moses, saying that Moses was quick to criticize. And Moses didn't take the time to listen. Even though the Gadites and the Reubenites, they drew close to Moses, Moses didn't come off of his little Mount Sinai. Moses was quick to criticize and didn't make the time to listen, to really listen. So Nachmanides was critical of Moses. In the 15th century, the Spanish court rabbi, Abravanel, he remarked that the Gadites and the Reubenites, they made a mistake. They should have put forward their proposal differently. They should have started with a commitment to help settle Israel, and then go to the part about caring for their livestock and their own families in the diaspora. By starting out with their own needs, then Moses shut his ears. So Abravanel said that their argument was just poorly constructed. Around the same time, Isaac Arama added that Moses could have been a little more apologetic for his quick-tempered response. So here's another person who's sort of in the anti-Moses camp. In the 20th century, Pinchas Peli, an Israeli rabbi, said that their desire, the Gadites and the Reubenites' desire to be in the diaspora, undermined the expression Am Yisrael, the unity of the people of Israel. And at this particular point in history, the people needed to be united and not divided. So we have a variety of viewpoints. Some of them are critical of Moses, some of them are critical of the Gadites and the Reubenites who wanted to be diaspora Jews. What does Rabbi Zach Shapiro of the 21st century have to say about all this? Look, I'm speaking as a person who, like the Gadites and the Reubenites, I've made a choice to make my life in the diaspora. I believe that's where I can best serve the Jewish people as well as my family. But that does not absolve me of the responsibility to have my heart turned toward Israel and to speak up for her when so much of the world condemns. And this, by the way, is exactly what the Gadites and the Reubenites did. They made that commitment that even though they'd be in the diaspora, that they would have their hearts turned toward Israel and that they would do whatever it took to help settle the people for their safety. So in our time, it's not always easy. And in this hyper-politicized world where so many people are condemning of Israel, it raises lots of difficulties. Look, while there's certainly aspects of Israeli society that I wrestle with, I believe at my core in the values and the ideals of Israel's mission. Let me quote a little bit of the Israeli Declaration of Independence. The state of Israel will be open for Jewish immigration and the ingathering of the exiles. It will foster the development of the country for the benefit of all its inhabitants. It will be based on freedom, justice, and peace as envisaged by the prophets of Israel. It will ensure complete equality of social and political rights to all its inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race, or sex. It will guarantee freedom of religion, conscience, language, education, and culture. It will safeguard the holy places of all religions, and it will be faithful to the principles of the Charter of the United Nations. This is embedded in the Israeli Declaration of Independence. Does Israel follow everything in that all the time? Unfortunately, there are issues, but it's still at the heart of what Israel cares about, and it's at my heart as well. Friends, we are living in a political climate unlike any I have ever seen. And advocacy for Israel, it seems like it's become a Democrat-Republican tug of war. I ask of you, please do not allow politics to purloin this 2,000-year-old yearning for a safe homeland for our people. Advocacy for Israel is not the sole is not under the auspices only of one party or another. It's been our dream as Jews forever. We, as Jews in the diaspora, hold on to that dream, and again, we can be critical. We can have questions, but we cannot abandon. You see, loving Israel is not a political statement. It's a Jewish statement. Be like the Gadites. Be like the Reubenites. Israel may not be your everyday home, but it is nevertheless our everyday responsibility. Think again back to that personalized license plate that I saw. I am here. When our people calls to us from Israel, we need to be able to stand tall and say, I am here. I am here with you. I am here for you. We are Am Yisrael. And so, my dear friends, as summer will soon turn into fall, and as we enter and continue the race toward the White House, please do not be lured into that thought that Israel belongs to one party or the other. It belongs to all of us. King Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Amen.
We continue our service with the beginning of our concluding prayers. If you're able to, we ask for you to please rise and face east once again. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kugei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo, Ushemo echad.
Please be seated, everyone. As we prepare for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish, we offer a reading that I've always loved from our Siddur. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. We remember now friends and family of our community who have died, who continue to shine upon us from their eternal resting spaces. I'm going to begin with those for whom we are in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, including Evelyn Gilbert and Benjamin Ortiz Horowitz. If there's someone on your mind who has died in these past 30 days and you're in our Zoom, if you can share those names in the chat box so we can see them. And if you're watching via YouTube, if you can share them via the YouTube box as well. We're remembering Tony Fernandez as well. As people continue to perhaps add names, we also remember the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths that occur on this Shabbat. We begin with names of those who have plaques in our Sue and Jerry Erfrig Memorial Room. Irving Aronson, Newton Andron, Solomon Berman, Melvin Hanberg, Irving Herman, Bert Paul Kuhn, Francis Lewin, Jean Pevsner, Rose Samow, Marion Schnurr, Frank Walter. We also remember Benjamin Barth, Faye Bloom, Manya Bubar, Tyler Edson, Julius Feinberg, Ida Friedman, Esther Gresham, Rose Katz, Ida Kraus, Charles Kraus, Herb Lees, Daniel Marcus, Hessie Reinhardt, Shalom Sarfati, Selma Snyder, Abe Swerdlow, Harry Wagner. Are there additional names that those in our community are remembering? If you can please add those. Lloyd Garrison, Charles Crane, Ada Goldberg, Mildred Kaufman Kamen, Charles Crane. May all their memories, as well as the memories of those who continue to shine upon your hearts, may they lead us all toward goodness. We're going to ask for you to please rise if you're able, and we share these words together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamar divrach rotei v'yamich malchotei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'galau v'yizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam u'amei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Yitadar, Yitalev, Yitalal, Shemei Tukudasha, Barichu, Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran bi'alma, V'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, V'chayim, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Useh shalom b'mromav, Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, V'al kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru Amen. May the one who causes peace to be known in the high heavens help us understand that by reaching out to one another, we create peace on earth as well. For all Israel and for all humanity, we say, Amen. Before we close Cantor Lani, a little mouse told me recently that today we are celebrating an 80th birthday. And usually if it's a birthday, we say join us at the first Shabbat of the month. But when we get to significant birthdays, I think it's kind of appropriate that we sing happy birthday to Barry Hallworth. So Barry, it's your birthday, and we're going to sing happy birthday to you. Cantor, can you lead us?
Of course. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Barry. Happy birthday to you. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Happy birthday, Barry!
Skip around the room, skip around. No, we won't do that. Okay. One other announcement that after our formal service, we're going to close the live stream, but those who are here on Zoom, you're welcome to stick around and we can schmooze for a little while. That's what's so nice about seeing each other's faces here. So stick around for 5-10 minutes and we'll have a chance to just catch each other up a little bit. Cantor, what are we closing with tonight?
We are closing with Oseh Shalom, and this is also, last week I had shared a song by the synagogue, the Reconstructionist Progressive Synagogue in Israel, Nava Tehillah, and this is another one of theirs, Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom b'romav, Hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav.
Cantor, it reminds me, I've shared this before, when I was ordained in Cincinnati in 97, uh, in the Plum Street Temple, very pomp and circumstance service. When we got to the end, they announced that Adon Olam would be the closing song. And my great uncle Chai of blessed memory, he stood up in the middle of the service with all this pomp and circumstance and said, "That's my favorite." And when you began singing the So Say Shalom, I felt like doing the same thing. Just that exuberance and that joy. Thank you for all the beautiful music. Rabbi Rachel, thank you for adding so much light and soul. We can't wait to next week. Carol Diamond, thank you for all of your incredible work behind the scene, helping make this happen. And Morris, thank you for your announcements earlier. Cantor, do you have a challah this week?
Of course I do. So tonight is chocolate chip cinnamon sprinkle.
Whoa!
Made by my daughters again. So as our tradition is at Temple Akiba, let's all put out our hands and pretend that we are touching the challah. Hamotzi lachem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices join in happy chorus as our humble prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz b'tei avon. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.